"Samantha, you hate me, don't you?" I asked Samantha, a stunning department head who has a reputation for not liking males, this difficult question while intoxicated. I feel ashamed to have been perceived in that manner. She then started to disclose an unexpected explanation for her lack of interest in men. "I'm 38 years old and go by John. After graduating from college, I worked in New York, but I quit because I was tired of a demanding job and went back to my hometown in Texas. I was drifting for a time. Then, Mike, a friend from middle school, said, 'Come work with us,' and urged me to join his company. I had my doubts, believing it to be a dubious enterprise. However, it proved to be a dependable company that has been producing lighting fixtures for 50 years and is well liked by corporations and local businesses. The president, Mr. Smith, welcomed me in business attire during the interview. He was a really good guy, full of smiles. During the interview, they unexpectedly provided coffee and jelly. Although informal, it concluded formally with the statement, "We'll get in touch with you with the results in approximately a week." "When can you start?" they inquired over the phone. I was so thrilled that it was hard for me to believe it. I was put in charge of sales in this manner. I was comfortable in the company within a month. Locals made up the majority of the staff. We would find links by discussing personal and familial matters with coworkers, such as "I used to live near your house," or "My sister might have worked with you at the same part-time job in high school." "Is that barbershop no longer open?" It was a cozy spot, just what I needed. Samantha, though, wasn't from the area. She appeared distant due to her outstanding beauty and height, standing at approximately 5'9". At the age of 35, she was promoted to department head due to her exceptional competence. She had apparently been employed at a large New York corporation. But she had a really distant manner. She would hardly acknowledge me without looking at me when I turned in work that she had asked me to do. Nevertheless, she would smile at female staff members and say kindly, "Thanks, Olivia, that was really helpful and quick." Despite being referred to as a cool beauty, she had a very different perspective on men and women. I felt dry from her too formal demeanor. While sipping his whiskey at a bar, Mike remarked, "Samantha despises men. She dislikes them a great deal. Has something occurred?" Even though she is attractive, Mike scowled and said, "Well, being that tall, she's out of the ordinary." I answered, "I think she's attractive, even though she's taller than most men." "That's because you're taller than Samantha," Mike remarked jealously as he looked up at my height. "Hey, you ought to go out with her." I am, in fact, 6 feet taller than Samantha. In any case, I've always enjoyed tall women. Growing up, I always thought my mother, who is 5'8", was awesome because my family is tall. Tall women appeal to me. I remarked, "But you might not feel the same way about me even if I like her." "I can't just go out with her. I believe Samantha despises me in particular." It happened a week ago. I went on a day trip to San Antonio and bought some cookies as souvenirs. "I'll leave Samantha's share here," I said, trying to put them on the corner of her desk. She coldly rejected them, saying, "I don't need them." Honestly, I was quite shocked. I made up reasons like, "She might not like sweets," or "She's on a diet," just to convince myself. Indeed, she does seem particularly cold to you. "Maybe it's that thing where you're mean to someone you like," Mike teased, making me almost spit out my drink. "What are you talking about?" I exclaimed. "It's only you who's taller than Samantha." "Maybe she's cold because she sees you as a man," Mike said. "That's impossible. There's no way that could be true. Sure, I'm tall, but I'm not good looking. And lately, I've started to develop a belly. I'm an unremarkable guy who doesn't attract women at all," I said. I thought there's no way Samantha sees me as a man. I had a bit too much to drink that night, but I made it to work the next day and focused on my job. Around 3 p.m., having finished my tasks, I was about to catch up on some paperwork when something happened. Samantha, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake with the order, and they said they need it delivered today. The female employee, nearly in tears, was Amy. She's just 23, but already has a 1-year-old child. Then we have no choice but to deliver it directly. Is the product in our warehouse? Samantha asked. Amy replied apologetically, yes, it's confirmed. But the delivery location is out of state, a 2-hour drive, and I have to pick up my child. It's tough for me. Samantha sighed. Then I'll go. Oh, but I have documents that I must finish by tonight. The usually cool Samantha seemed unusually troubled. I stood up and approached Amy. I'll go. I'm free right now. Really? Amy looked at me with eyes full of gratitude. Really? That would be a huge help, Samantha said softly. So, I loaded the products into the car at a warehouse 30 minutes away and set off for the 2-hour drive to the client. I'm off then, I said, jingling the car keys. John, please take care, Samantha said as she saw me off. I loaded the product successfully at the warehouse and headed to the client. They were an interior design company scheduled to install lighting fixtures the next day. I arrived after 6 p.m., expecting a grumpy old man to scold me for the order mistake. Instead, I was surprised to meet a young and pretty woman in charge. She must have been in her 20s. I'm so sorry you had to bring this all the way here, she apologized, making me feel awkward. Insisting I take a break, she treated me to coffee and pound cake in the lounge. Her name was Jessica. She was 28 years old and the daughter of the company's president. I guess you'll be taking over the business someday, I blurted out. No, I'd rather get married if I find someone willing, she replied with a gentle smile. I thought someone like her would definitely find a good match soon. When I returned to the office, it was past 9:00 p.m. I didn't expect anyone to be there, but to my surprise, Samantha was still in the sales department. It seemed like she was waiting for me. I'm sorry for troubling you. No, I should be thanking you, John. I really appreciate your help, she said, her tone of sincere gratitude warming my heart. Let's head home, shall we? I turned off the lights in the office and locked up. On our way to the parking lot, Samantha suddenly asked, would you like to grab dinner together? I was surprised. Samantha and I were far from close. In fact, she seemed to have a certain aversion to me. I doubted that two people like us, with such a strained relationship, would have much to talk about over dinner. It might just end up being awkward. As I hesitated, she added, sorry, you can say no if you don't want to. Thinking that declining might hurt her feelings, I cheerfully said, let's go. I'm actually really hungry. It was late, so only diners and places serving alcohol were open. Since we had driven, we couldn't drink alcohol, but we decided to go to a popular local grill. By the way, this was also the place where I had drinks with Mike. Welcome. Table for two. Upon entering the restaurant, we were greeted by a delicious, appetizing aroma. My stomach immediately started to rumble. We were led to a small table in the corner. The distance between us was quite close. A soft, flowery scent wafted from Samantha. Maybe it was her shampoo. Being so conscious of her femininity, I felt strangely excited. What would you like to drink? The waiter asked. I ordered Coca-Cola, but Samantha said, actually, I do want a drink, John. Will you join me? We can call a cab for the car. I didn't know she liked alcohol that much and smiled wryly. Of course, I'll keep you company until we're both tipsy. So we ordered beer. Somehow, I think we both expected we would end up drinking. Otherwise, why choose a grill? After the first beer, we switched to wine. Samantha and I surprisingly had the same taste in alcohol. As we recommended our favorite brands to each other, we both got quite drunk. Samantha, you hate me, don't you? Fueled by alcohol, I finally asked the difficult question. H. No, that's not true, she said, looking away. But you dislike men, right? It's pretty well known among the male employees. I pressed further. Samantha sighed. I'm embarrassed to be seen that way, especially as a manager. I didn't realize I was doing it. Then she began to tell me why she was cold towards men. Her height had always been a complex for her. She had been tall since childhood, reaching her current height in middle school. Since boys developed later, all of them were shorter than her. Rather than seeing her as a girl, some even mockingly called her tall girl. Samantha had given up on being treated like a girl. However, in high school, things changed. Boys taller than Samantha started to appear. She became close to a 6'0" boy from the basketball team. On Valentine's Day, she bravely confessed her feelings, but he rejected her, saying, "Sorry, I think girls should be at most 5'7". That became a trauma for me. I've been uncomfortable around tall boys ever since. I thought it was a terrible story. Many understand that it's wrong to insult someone's appearance with words like fat or ugly, but why don't they realize that negatively commenting on someone's height can be just as hurtful? Then Samantha muttered softly, "You prefer shorter girls, don't you, John?" No, I actually think I prefer taller women. It's more like they make me feel safe. Samantha looked surprised, so I explained, everyone in my family is tall. Even my mother is 5'8". I grew up thinking my tall mother was cool. Does that make me sound like a mama's boy? Samantha shook her head. There are people like that? She looked genuinely happy. It was the first time I had seen her smile so naturally, and she was so cute that my heart started racing. After that, Samantha and I began to go out for drinks occasionally. Although the atmosphere never got romantic, we did start talking more informally, like friends in a bar. Then one day, I was called in by Mr. Smith, the company president. The atmosphere didn't seem negative, so I headed to the president's office without any particular expectations. I was even casually hoping it might be about a promotion. I was offered a seat on the sofa and sat down. Mr. Smith, sitting opposite me, held something curious. I looked closely. Inside was a photo of a woman. Do you have someone you're seeing, John? No, I don't. Then Mr. Smith said with a smile, You remember that delivery you made out of state? The young lady there seems to have fallen for you at first sight. How about a matchmaking meeting? I was so surprised that I was at a loss for words. That young and pretty girl fell for me. Unbelievable. It's sudden, so I know it's shocking. Take some time to think about it. He handed me a file, which I accepted. Inside were a resume and other photos of the woman. The woman in the photo was wearing a beige, elegant dress and was indeed very beautiful. She was only 28. Why would she be interested in someone 10 years older? Marriage with such a pretty girl? At that thought, Samantha's face came to my mind. What would she think if I went for this matchmaking? I returned to my desk. Hey, John, what's up? You're zoning out. Is that photos? You're not really going for matchmaking, are you? Shoot, Mike had noticed. He quickly snatched the file from me and checked the contents. Well, she's gorgeous and only 28. I'm so jealous, Mike exclaimed loudly, unaware that Samantha was nearby. I hurriedly took back the file from him. No, I haven't decided yet. But you'll go for it, right? You don't have a girlfriend, do you? Well, yeah, but at that moment, Samantha quietly stood up and looked out, concerned. I quickly followed her. Samantha, I called out to her as she was about to leave. She stopped, looking down. John, are you going for the matchmaking? Well, I clearly didn't want to do it because I'm in love with Samantha. But would Samantha accept my feelings? I wasn't sure. After all, Samantha and I are too different. Then she said something unbelievable. Please turn it down. I involuntarily asked, "What?" She turned around and looked up at me, her eyes moist and her cheeks flushed red. "Please turn down the matchmaking. I like you, John." "No way. Samantha likes me." "Samantha. Beautiful, smart, with an outstanding figure. Like someone like me." "Is that really, truly true?" When I asked her seriously, Samantha nodded affirmatively. My heart felt warm with excitement. It was my first time experiencing mutual feelings with a woman, and I felt an overwhelming joy. "I like you too, Samantha. Will you be my girlfriend?" I took Samantha's hand, and with tears in her voice, she nodded yes. "Yay. Congratulations, Samantha and John. You actually won Samantha's heart. That's amazing." To my surprise, the sales team started appearing in the corridor. You guys were watching. I was so flustered, remembering my own words. Samantha, too, crouched down, saying, "I'm so embarrassed. I wish I could disappear." "Keep it down, everyone. Let's get back to work," I tried to calm the commotion. But the women surrounded Samantha, excitedly chatting. "Don't quit your job, even if you get married, John. You owe us a treat now." Mike playfully hit me. "Get back to work, all of you. What's all this fuss about?" Mr. Smith, the president, even showed up. Shoot. Just after the matchmaking proposal, I've now decided to date Samantha. This is awkward. As I panicked, Mike reported to Mr. Smith. "Samantha and John are starting a serious relationship with marriage in mind. Let's celebrate as a company." "No, we're not talking about marriage yet." "Is that so?" Mr. Smith asked seriously. "Oh no. Is he angry?" I stepped forward and bowed deeply to Mr. Smith. "I'm sorry. It just happened now. I want to seriously date Samantha, so I must decline the earlier proposal." I braced myself for scolding, but Mr. Smith laughed heartily. "I always thought you two would be a good match. I never expected it to actually happen. Maybe I became a Cupid of love." He easily blessed us, leaving me relieved. "I'll handle the other party. Don't worry." "Congratulations," he said, placing a hand on my shoulder. "Thank you," I nodded firmly. When I told my parents about my first ever girlfriend, they were overjoyed and insisted on meeting her. Reluctantly, I invited Samantha to my parents' house. "Wow, your mother is so beautiful." Samantha seemed mesmerized by my mom. "I'm not bragging, but my mom is beautiful. I don't look like her at all." "Samantha, you played basketball, right?" "I played until high school too." "Really? But I quit in my freshman year. I injured my knee ligament, and even though it healed, I was scared of hurting it again." "I understand. I hurt my knee too." They instantly hit it off with a common topic. "Did your dad play sports too?" "Yes, he was in the same basketball team in middle school and confessed to me back then." My mom started reminiscing. "Oh boy, spare me," I thought, but Samantha played along, saying, "Well, making a childhood love work out all the way to marriage is amazing. By the way, did John play any sports?" The conversation turned to me, making me gulp. "Haha, in our family, John was the only one not good at sports. He didn't do any sports, always playing video games," my mom revealed. "You still love video games, right?" They were getting along too well. Really noisy, but both seemed natural, not forced, getting along well. "Your blouse is lovely. Where did you buy it?" Samantha shifted to fashion talk. Both being well above average height, they shared the common struggle of finding clothes. Seeing them get along so well, I felt relieved. Today is our date. I'm meeting Samantha in front of the cinema. From a distance, I saw her approaching, but she seemed different. Almost everyone she passed turned to look at her. The reason was her footwear. Samantha was wearing high-heeled sandals. Already tall, with heels, she was over 5'11". Her long legs and slim jeans were eye-catching. No wonder people were surprised. Sorry to keep you waiting. Standing in front of me, Samantha's face was at the same height as mine. This feels new, she giggled. We're the same height now. I always wanted to try these shoes at least once. But does it look weird? I shook my head. You look amazing. Samantha smiled shyly and said, Thank you. We walked side by side, naturally holding hands. I'm glad I met you, John. I feel like you'll accept me no matter what, Samantha chuckled. Here is the USB containing the data. Well, I could have been kinder to you if you had always done this for me, but this is mine now. Don't assume you'll get it back. Okay, I got it. The manager gazed down at me with a gratifying smile. After then, you are no longer required. The business meeting tomorrow will be run by myself. With effect from today, you are fired. I got it. After making sure the USB was connected to the computer, I gave the manager my prepared letter of resignation. The only thing left to do was wait and see what would happen. I grinned a little, no longer an employee. Steve is my name. My parents gave me a cell phone when I was very young, and I quickly got addicted to viewing movies and conducting basic searches on it. I was fascinated by gaming over all else. My parents set up simple playthings and instructive puzzle games for me back then. After I figured it out, I began installing any games that piqued my attention. I became deeply involved in the realm of computers as a result. My dad gave me his old computer when I entered primary school. It's beneficial to know how to operate a computer these days. Additionally, it will be a wonderful gift for a gamer like you, right? Yo, thanks, Dad. I continued to ace practically every test until I graduated from primary school, which worried my mother about my future grades. My mother, who was first hesitant to give me a computer, ceased bugging me about her concerns because of that. With a little more money in middle school, I started building my own computer. But initially, I didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't afford to buy new parts. Rather, I searched for inexpensive, used goods in the hopes of discovering something useful. It reminded me of a treasure hunt. My primary focus shifted to using my computer. I also began to experiment with programming at that time. At first, I wanted to make games that were similar to the ones I still like. Even though it was complicated and challenging, I felt a great sense of pleasure and fulfillment when I looked at the lines of code I had written. After a while, I finished my own game. One of my everyday pleasures became tweaking and adding to it. I was always the top student in computer classes in middle and high school because of that. I always finished first on typing tests and Excel and PowerPoint classes. My close friends began referring to me as Master PC as a result. Master PC, help me with my assignment, please. My overtime fees are pretty high, you know. Damn, I'll treat you to any drink from the vending machine. Okay, you got it. That was the type of chat we had. These are some pleasant recollections of my early years. In college, I studied engineering. My dad, who works for a corporation, gave me programming assistance, which helped me develop my skills to a useful level. The field of artificial intelligence, or AI, became my new area of interest. The atmosphere at college, with its quirky artists and people more talented than me, was like heaven. One day when I was there, my dad had an idea. Steve, how about becoming an engineer at my company? However, I will lose my freedom if I get a job. I'd like a job where I can pursue my passions. I'd assumed you would say that. However, Steve, I'm not concerned because you are capable of making your own decisions. My dad didn't dismiss my thoughts. However, my mom looked worried. But I'm still worried. Nowadays, having a stable job means a secure future. Don't worry, Mom. I've thought about that. Really? Are you sure everything will be okay? I'll tell you first when I get a job, so wait for the good news. If you say so. Mom is a worrier, but never dismisses others' ideas. I know she is kinder than any other mother I know, so I didn't want to keep her anxious. That's why after graduating college, I found a place that seemed like it could fulfill my ideal of balancing work and hobbies. I joined a fairly large advertising agency, giving my mom a sigh of relief. But that workplace lacked my ideals. Damien is slacking off again and pushing his work. His name is Tom. He was the first friend I made at this job. He also enjoyed tinkering with computers and even showcased his games at a huge game festival held biannually. Since we had similar interests, it didn't take long for us to become friends. Steve, you've been called out a lot recently. Yeah, I guess it's because I said I was good with computers during my introduction. Tough luck. But really, for an advertising agency manager, being unable to use a computer properly is something else. Exactly. Our workplace, led by such a manager, Damien, a man in his 50s, became a busy place. He leverages his seniority to dump work on younger employees. Because of his behavior, despite being able to leave on time, we're all pushed into working overtime. Both Tom and I are victims of this. Hey, Steve, come here for a sec. Yes, what's up? There's some trouble with the computer. Can you take a look? All right, I got it. That's how it goes. Whenever there's a problem, they call me, but it's always minor issues. There, it's fixed. Well, young guys like you could do anything without a computer. Fixing this is expected. Sure. You know, I've always gotten A+ grades in math throughout my life, from elementary school. I even took a business class at my local community college. Unlike you, who rely on machines for simple calculations, I excel at computation. We're in different leagues, you understand that, right? I guess so. Conversations with Damien always lead to his boasting and his views on the younger generation. Basically, he has a condescending attitude and outlook towards those younger than him. That's why he's quite disliked in our department. But among us, there was one guy who seemed to get along well with Damien. This company has grown because of me, you know. Well, Damien, you truly are a great person. You get it, my greatness, of course. His name is Matthew. Though he's technically my colleague, we've never spoken. However, he's known for his sharp tongue towards others and always sticks close to Damien like a sycophant. Probably he's aiming for a promotion, but his behavior has been causing discomfort among our colleagues. Hey, Steve, Damien said you need to do this. This wasn't your job, huh? What are you talking about? This was assigned to you. What's with that look? Fine, just leave it like that. He, too, is the same as Damien. Matthew had a habit of dumping his work on others. Honestly, we could refuse what he said, but he persistently nags. So, eventually, everyone just accepts it. Steve, you're really unlucky. You too, Tom. Why did we end up working here? I don't know. Well, because of these two guys, I did manage to bond with my seniors and peers. Lately, when we talk during breaks, we inevitably end up complaining about those two. In the midst of this, news of a major project came in. It was about handling a new advertising venture for a global company that develops the latest computer software. For a company of our size, it was a massive opportunity. The president seemed very enthusiastic about it. Thankfully, after some negotiations, we officially secured the contract. It was a sign of great progress for the company. Soon, the news reached our department. It was about assembling a team to prepare the necessary data for the business deal. Looking at the list of members participating in the project, I saw my name on it. Good for you, Steve. Yay, this project seems really promising. I'm sure you'll bring great results. I'm counting on you. Thanks. I'll do my best. Tom, my colleague, was genuinely happy for me, but our excitement was short-lived. While looking at the list, I noticed Damien's name. Tom seemed to have noticed it at the same time, and we both let out a sigh. Good luck, Steve. It must be a joke. Tom gave a wry smile and spoke in a monotone voice. Starting the project preparations, I first gathered company data and current industry trends to create the materials. To align the materials with the client's needs, I made several visits to their office. After numerous discussions to clarify their requirements, I managed to gain some trust from them. While thinking that it was quite an enjoyable job, I started working on the task. But just when I'm feeling good about my work, that person always seems to show up in front of me. "Hey, Steve, finish this data collection by tomorrow." "Isn't this your task, Damien? Stop complaining. Just do it. Got it?" Damien pushes even the simplest tasks onto me. Honestly, I wonder when he actually does any difficult work, especially since he keeps dumping these kinds of tasks on me. I feel frustrated about it. Once, while walking around the office during a break, I overheard Damien and his lackey, Matthew, talking. That guy is so dumb. I don't get why he works so hard. With someone like Steve around, I get to enjoy the sweet life. Damien, you're so bad. Man, I totally don't care. Just let that guy handle all the troublesome stuff. That way, I can easily maintain my performance. You're such a strategist, Damien. Strangely, hearing their conversation didn't make me angry. It was all too expected, and I just felt resigned. Quietly sighing, I went back to my desk and resumed my work. The day before the project negotiation, I was glued to my computer, finalizing the preparations while communicating with the client. I was so busy that I stood out in the department. Gradually, I started receiving praise from my peers and senior female colleagues. I felt as fulfilled as when indulging in my hobbies, but it seems someone didn't like seeing me like this. "Hey, Steve, the printer is running out of ink. Refill it." "Ah, sorry. I'm a bit tied up right now." "Just do it when I tell you to. That's the problem with young people." "Got it." Arguing wouldn't change anything. I know his type, so I didn't talk back. But such incidents kept piling up. "Hey, Steve, we're running low on pens. Place an order with general affairs." "Got it." Can't you even notice something like a minor problem? What's with young people these days? There was this instance and others. "Hey, Steve, make some coffee. Show a little consideration for others." "Sorry about that." "Ah, I changed my mind. Make some tea instead." "Got it." "Seriously, it's because you're dilly-dallying that I changed my mind." Honestly, I felt like spilling the hot coffee I had just made on purpose. In the end, I dumped the freshly brewed coffee down the sink and made tea instead. Then Tom came over to me. "Hey, are you okay, Steve?" "Yeah, thanks. But there's nothing I can do about it." "Sorry, I can't do much for you either." "It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just talking to me already makes me feel not alone." That's a relief. "Steve, after the project is successfully completed, let's have a drink. Sushi or barbecue, whatever you like. It's on me." "That sounds great. Now I'll go and deliver this tea." Enjoying my job and the private time promised in the contract. All of it was being taken away by Damien. I was beginning to feel a slight sense of revenge as I felt my hatred growing, burning up the warm kindness in my heart. I placed the steaming tea next to Damien. It was a signal of my fight. Then, as if to deliver the final blow, Damien dumped a pile of documents on my desk. "Sort these documents chronologically and file them by tomorrow morning." That's unreasonable. "What about the project?" "You're just a regular employee, and I'm the manager. Understand the hierarchy. You can't defy me. Can't you even handle this? You're so incompetent. It's pathetic. Being good with computers doesn't mean you're cut out for office work. You're a disposable employee." Damien, probably harboring some dissatisfaction with me, said all he wanted without caring about the others around. Feeling relieved, he left with Matthew. "Hey, hand over the documents you created. It's clear who's superior here. Normally, for a big project like this, someone in my position should be dealing with the client. It was too early for you." As I recalled everything that had happened, I trembled with anger, struggling to keep my composure. For the first time, I experienced how one's vision narrows and darkens when losing oneself to anger. But in the remaining sliver of light, I saw Tom and other colleagues and seniors looking worriedly at me. I managed to suppress my dark feelings. All right, here is the USB with the data. You're being cooperative for once. If you were always like this, I might have taken care of you, but now, this is mine. Don't expect to get it back, okay? With a satisfied smile, Damien looked down on me. You're no longer needed. I'll handle tomorrow's negotiation. You're fired, effective today. Okay. If that's the case, I'll go say goodbye to the president now. Suit yourself. I handed over my pre-prepared resignation letter I had in my desk. After Damien took it, he left the room with Matthew, looking pleased. After speaking with Damien, I went to the president's office to explain everything. I told him about the project data being uploaded to the company's cloud, how to access it, and that during my visits to the client, I had bonded with an executive, David, who trusted my work and had proposed starting a new company together. I shared all these details. All right. I thought this company would be a good environment for you, but it ended up causing you pain. I'm sorry. It's okay. Don't worry about it. But probably the feelings I've harbored against Damien will smolder in my heart for a while. Well, maybe this is for the best. Besides, I always felt uncomfortable with the idea of you and me being tied by a hierarchical relationship. I feel the same, Dad. Most people don't know this, but the president of the company is actually my father. I joined the company under my mother's surname Williams, so it's no wonder no one realized. Initially, Mom suggested I join a company as a successor, but Dad wanted me to live more freely and didn't intend to make me a successor. So he was actually somewhat relieved to hear I was leaving. I'll clean up my desk and then leave the company. You make it sound like you're going far away. Please excuse me for leaving ahead. Just say you're going home as usual. I'm just kidding, Dad. Then I'm going home. Take care. When I returned to the office, I saw Damien in a flurry. I asked Tom what happened. Apparently, when Damien plugged in the USB drive he took from me, it triggered a warning, and the computer froze. Huh. Well, that figures. Everyone around him was just shrugging it off, saying they didn't know what to do, making him even more panicked. Seeing Damien and Matthew flustered, I couldn't help but snicker. Noticing me, Damien shouted, almost yelling, "Hey, Steve." "What's wrong, Mr. Damien?" "When I plugged in this USB you gave me, the computer stopped working." "Fix it." "I'm sorry, but I'm no longer an employee here. I was fired by you just a while ago, and it's past my working hours, so I'm going home." I said this and began gathering my belongings to leave. Damien stomped over to me and reached out as if to grab my collar. "I'm not your coworker anymore. If you try to harm me, I'll file a police report." Damien's face turned red, then pale, and he stopped in his tracks. "What did you do?" "I don't know, but weren't you aware, Mr. Damien? Our company prohibits carrying data on USB drives for security reasons." "What are you talking about?" "It's a rule for preventing data leaks. If you don't follow the proper procedure, plugging in a USB will trigger a warning. Right?" "I forgot," Damien muttered, realizing the company rule he had ignored. For someone in your position to forget such an important thing, it's surprising you manage to be in charge of others. Getting cocky, aren't you? Can't even handle a computer, lack rational thought as an adult, and behave like a selfish child who knows nothing of the wider world. It's sad how your mind hasn't grown despite your age. It's a wonder how you've survived in society so far. I mimicked what Damien had always done to me. My colleagues, watching this, were laughing quietly, shaking with suppressed laughter. Tom was grinning, watching us with his elbows on his desk. "Well, if you follow the proper steps, you can use it again." After I said that, Damien seemed relieved and let out a deep sigh. Seizing the moment, I added, "You can apply at the General Affairs Department, and it'll be usable in 2 to 3 days." Hearing this, he turned pale again. "The negotiation is tomorrow." "I guess you understand what this situation means, right?" "Someone in your position should naturally understand." "Steve." "Well, I've been fired. As you said, I'm incompetent and only good with computers. I'm leaving this company now, and please don't contact me. We're practically strangers now, Mr. Damien." With a sense of liberation, I felt like a hero who had conquered a battle, and I left the room. The data on the USB drive was already uploaded to the company's cloud, as I had informed the president. However, I saved it in a place where Damien, lacking computer skills, wouldn't find it. Despite my grudge against him, I didn't want to harm the project or other members, especially the president, who was enthusiastic about it. David, from the client's side, was also fully informed about the incident, so even if Damien made a mistake, the negotiation would not be jeopardized. The president would surely handle things smoothly tomorrow. Time passed. One day, over drinks, David, who was an executive at the client's side back then, told me what happened afterward. Damien appeared at the scheduled negotiation looking utterly exhausted. He tried to bluff his way through, but was sharply questioned by the clients and my father, the president, causing his voice to tremble. Moreover, when asked by the client why I wasn't present, Damien boldly claimed, "He was incompetent, so I had him leave," as if it was a righteous act. The clients chuckled, but David, without changing his expression, calmly asked, "In what ways are you more capable than Steve?" He often visited us to understand our needs and created clear documents. We were considering asking him for the final advertisement due to its high quality. I've always excelled in math. I also graduated from a business class at a community college. Young people these days rely too much on computers and don't think for themselves, Damien confidently boasted. The president laughed. Graduated from a community college. Steve graduated from the university with a Master of Business degree. Also, he has US CPA. Hearing this, Damien froze. "How come you know so much about him?" Damien stammered. "I've been watching over him closely, second only to one other person in this world. It's natural for me to know about him." That can't mean. He's my son." Yikes. Damien paled and collapsed to his knees. David, like delivering the final blow, said, "Our company develops the computer software you so readily dismiss. Interesting." Saying this, he laughed so heartily that the clients who came with him were taken aback. Then David suddenly stopped and stared coldly at Damien, saying in the lowest voice he could, "The incompetent one is you." The room froze. David mentioned he was expressing his own disappointment too. His colleagues later said they never knew David could be so intimidating. In the quiet meeting room, with everyone staring at their desks, the president addressed Damien. "I understand it's hard to keep up with the times as one gets older. I feel the same. But we must not deny the changes. Once we do, time stops for us. Our industry must always be at the forefront," he continued. "You've been pushing work onto others, saying you don't understand or can't do it. I've heard from your subordinates. Most of the work credited to you was done by them. What's your value then?" At that moment, Damien was like a deer caught in the headlights, as David metaphorically described. When Damien became almost motionless, the president stood up. "The materials Steve prepared are with me. I apologize for the inconvenience caused today due to my lack of supervision," he said, then apologized to the clients. David added, "Steve's excellent materials and trust are still intact. Let's discuss this another time. And he's practically family to us." The clients laughed and let it go. The president then glared at Damien. "The world has a way of balancing things, like a scale seeking equilibrium. Now one side of the scale is loaded with your deeds. What will balance it? Let's discuss this back at the office." He left with a smile not resembling human laughter. Later, Damien was immediately dismissed by the president. Even though David and my dad are usually cheerful and kind, hearing this side of them made me shudder. "Don't worry, that was just an act back then," David reassured with a smile. But I decided never to anger these two. Afterward, I was fully immersed in the new company I started with David, enjoying my work more than ever before. Our business focused on developing apps that everyone could use for fun and convenience. There was a lot to do, but most of the work overlapped with what I used to do as a hobby. In essence, I turned my hobby into a career. I stayed in touch with Tom, who remained at my father's company. Occasionally, we would go out to eat when our schedules aligned, and sometimes we invited David, the president of my new company, to join us. The two of them became good friends, almost like best buddies. Once the app Steve and I are developing is finished, I want to ask your company for advertising. That sounds great. I'd love to be the person in charge of the business deal with you. I'll leave it to you when the time comes. The connections each of us had built were now bringing together a new team for this path forward. As long as you strive to move forward in life, nothing is wasted. Everything becomes a part of you and your future. I learned this from the experiences I've had up to today. On a side note, recently on my way home from the office, I spotted Damien. He was standing outside a computer class, talking with people of his own age. After a while, a young man came out of the shop and assured everyone inside, "Damien, if only you had changed sooner, I might have truly respected you. Good luck." Seeing him trying to confront his own shortcomings, I felt a slight urge to cheer him on. The rapid changes of time can drag you into murky depths if you're not careful, sinking you into darkness. That's why it's crucial to actively seek information and upgrade what you have. By doing so, you can evolve into a person capable of keeping up with the new era. You shouldn't give up or deny the things you can't do. It's also important to love the human aspect of yourself, flaws and all. I pledge to myself to never stop learning and to live each day to its fullest.